All right, everybody. This is an introductory video about what the transfer portal is all about. This all stems from the movie Tenet, which is 10 spelled forwards and backwards from something called the Seder Square. And that Seder Square, that will probably be my thumbnail for the video. The Seder Square, or Rota Square, because that's Seder backwards, is a two-dimensional word square containing a five-word Latin palindrome. It features an early Christian as well as magical context. The earliest example of the square dates to the ruins of Pompeii, which some scholars attribute to pre-Christian origins, such as Jewish or Mithrak. And you can see where you spell Seder, Rotos, Seder, and in there is opera, and then the reverse of opera, and then Tenet, and Tenet is backwards or forwards. It is the number 10 involved. Now you move to Janus, the god Janus, forwards and backwards. And that gives us Janus was proudly venerated as uniquely Roman god rather than one adopted from the Greek pantheon. The cultural statue of Janus depicted the god bearded with two heads. This meant he could see forwards and backwards and inside and outside simultaneously without turning around. And when you look at images, we might use one of these for a thumbnail. So you get the idea of what Janus is about. And so Tenet is 10 forwards and backwards. Janus is what January is named after. So January 10, or Janus Tenet, is the transfer portal of time, mathematical dates moving upwards and forwards from this ground zero date, I guess is the best way to call it. So if you add 10 days to Janus Tenet, you get January 20th. If you subtract 10 days, you go down to, I guess, the 31st of January or the 1st. Or if you go up 5 days from Janus Tenet or January 10th or the transfer portal date, whatever we want to call it, if you go up 5 days, you're January 15th. If you go back 5 days, you're January 5th. And what we've noticed is that these dates do relate to each other. So just to give an example, we will do the Dr. Pepper commercial just to give you an idea, and I will need to turn the volume back up. But I want to kind of introduce you to a spreadsheet that we started. And the first date that I ran through it in theory, when this theory just sort of popped into my head, and I would tell you, of course, it came from the Holy Spirit. I wanted to look at how many days back you went to the solar eclipse and then how many days you would go forward. And we found out that we're taking away 37 days from January 10th, the portal date, or Janus Tenet. You got the December 4th solar eclipse. Now, the reason why we choose this January to do it is because this January mirrors the Donnie Darko calendar of 2018, which is, of course, key. What you find out is they mirror each other. It begins on Saturday the 1st. You'll have Monday the 10th. It'll end on Monday the 31st. Go to Donnie Darko's calendar of October 1988, Saturday the 1st, Monday the 10th, Monday the 31st. So they're a mirror of each other. And so everything that's occurring in the movie Donnie Darko in October is really occurring in January of 2022. And Donnie Darko does jump from the beginning on October 2nd or January 2nd, which happens to have a new moon. And the next date they show is the 10th. And the first thing they start talking about after they flash October 10th, the scene in the movie As soon as they flash that screen up, it cuts to the IHS Jesuit school that Donnie attends. And so when the time travel, when they show you the October 10th date, and sorry about the glare coming through the drapes, but that's the Monday. That's our Janus Tenet date of the portal, the transfer portal. And as soon as you get to it, they cut to the IHS, Isis, Horus, and Set of the Jesuit order. And they take you to the school. They show you the portal or the archway, which is their way of time travel, another way they speak of time travel. And Donnie is in there talking to his professor. And that's what it cuts to. It's immediately what you get to. And of course, what are they going to talk about?
Do you know anything about time travel?
So they begin the whole routine conversation concerning time travel, wormholes, so on and so forth. That is at the 10th of the movie, January 10th, or what the movie calls October 10th, but we know it's really January 10th. So I can't remember what it was that threw me into this. It all started coming in like it kind of just hit, and I started adding dates, or I figured out, I went back to see, and it was 37 days. I'm sorry, it was 37 days. I keyed in, I found out the distance between the December 4th solar eclipse and January 10th, and I noticed it was 37 days. So then I wanted to add it, and it landed on February 16th, which is the snow full moon. And the solar eclipse date is what they show you in Donnie Darko. They show you a solar eclipse scene with Patrick Swayze blocking the sun that's shining onto Donnie, which is significant for a solar eclipse. And that was on October 2nd when that occurred. And so we threw it back 37 days to the solar eclipse. Well, then you have to add 37 back through the portal the other direction, and it landed on the snow full moon, which comes from I Pet Goat. And because there's Valentine's hearts all over the place, so that's what moon he's rising up through. Now, nothing really means that anything's going to happen on a specific date. We can't nail that down. It's too complex. We can all have theories based off of this. But simultaneously, as all this was taking place, this popular commercial is on TV.
By Dr. Pepper. Sheriff, come quick. Rico's about to enter the transfer portal.
So there's the transfer portal, again, the archway. It might as well have IHS right on top of it, of Donnie's school that they showed you there on the October 10th date. And there's the 4th for the solar eclipse of December 4th.
Rico, you don't need to transfer.
So transferring is portaling. It's moving through time. It's moving. Now, this has nothing to do with real time travel. This is just about them taking something they know is going to happen in the future, because the fallen angels know when these things are going to happen. So the humans that run the earth know when these things are going to happen. And the fallen angels create for them the script where the same amount of days to this date, the same amount of date backwards from the date, we're going to create an event, or Trump's going to say something, or Trump's going to have come down with an illness, or Trump's going to have said something ridiculous. And so you have to go back when he said something, and then take that amount of days and then move it forward. And if it's too many days back in time to where it would push you too many days up in time to where we don't think we're going to be here anymore, because we don't think you have 2 or 3 years left here, then we just really look at the date. What is the date he said it, run it through the portal? What is the date it aligns with on the other side of the portal? And that would actually, like, if you think Trump will go down on October 31st, you how many days is that from the portal? Now swing it forward the same amount of days backwards to October 31st. Now swing it forwards, and you should have the same strong feeling that it would happen on the same amount of days moving forward through the portal. And
You've seen the latest depth chart. I'd be lucky to play it down this year.
so he's about to go through the portal,
But you're only a sophomore. There's still
which really means the snow full moon.
time. Rico's time is now.
And so he's going through the portal. Rico's time is now. This is all about Trump's time. Deadly wound time.
Never
And so that doesn't mean he's going down on the 4th.
really saw much upside with Rico.
And then what pops out is the 17th, and we know there's a wolf full moon in January. There's on the 17th, which is Martin Luther King Day. So it just starts getting your wheels turning, and that's up 7 days from the portal, and the 4th is back 37 days. So there's a 737 combination there. But what we did was back 37 solar eclipse, up 37 snow full moon. The next thing I wanted to look at was the November 9th, where it says 1109 on that Afghanistan jet. And it ended up being on day 313, which is day 313 of the year. And when I ran it forward 62 days from January 10th, it's kind of like algebra. What you do on one side, you got to do on the other when you solve for X. Well, however many days you go backwards in the portal, you then have to go the same amount of days forwards in the portal. And since you go backwards 62 days to day 313, which 313 was the frame when JFK got his head blown off, or his clone, or whatever took place, you go up 62 days and you get 313 again in a different form. It's March 13th, which is when Trump announced that the United States would be in a state of emergency. So once I saw the 313 and the eclipse and full moons, I immediately went and made a video and was kind of freaking out. I was like, the Lord's really allowed us to hit on something. So like we thought on October 17th, martial law could be declared in this country because that's when the Seahawks played the Steelers, and that's when Bain declared martial law. Well, go back to January 10th and now move it up 85 days. You get April 5th. Martial law will be declared. Possibly. See, so you start opening up all of these possibilities, and many different things started just really connecting. And especially when you take into account that January is the Donnie Darko calendar. So everything that happens on each day of Donnie Darko is really connected to January 2022. So then once you've done that, you just, my friend Adam said, what about when Trump was in the hospital 3 days? So instead of looking up hospital 3 days, I just remember he declared it when the movie Donnie Darko began on October 2nd. And I went back 465 days. I mean, it dates 465 days backwards on October 2nd, 2020. Well, then I ran it up 465 days and it lands on Hitler's birthday, which is a solar eclipse. And when Trump says he had, the illness, it's called corona, and corona is the circle around a solar eclipse, which is what heliofont and IPEC GOAT is all about. And so the fact that it lands on a solar eclipse, and Trump claimed he had basically the solar eclipse, then does that mean that's when Trump's going down, or is that when the abomination of desolation is? I think it's the abomination of desolation day in the spring. You're past the winter. You're in springtime. You're around there Easter time. It's 11 days after Easter, so it's not a tremendous amount of help with that, but so that's pretty much where we're at with everything. It's a week away from Passover. Exactly 7 days from Passover. But anyway, so that's pretty much it. That's what we call the transfer portal. And in the movie Tenet, everything was about getting into time and moving time forwards and backwards. And they had a hand signal that signified putting the hand together where the fingers are pointing forwards and backwards and saying the name Tenet. And that was how you signaled people, and it opened doors for you. Just like in their world, doors open up for you when you are part of their community. And so that's pretty much what we're doing. We are running dates through the portal to try to figure out when Trump will go down and when the abomination of desolation would be. We feel strongly one of them would happen on that solar eclipse on Hitler's birthday in 2023. And I've added a lot of other items to it, but I just wanted this to be sort of a short introductory to the whole shebang. Day 322, March 22nd, hits on Halloween. March 11th, which was the WHO day when the WHO declared a global pandemic, is on portals back through to 11/11, which everybody said 11/11, make a wish. When you see 11/11, and it was about connecting with angels in the spirit world, which means demons. And yeah, Groundhog Day connects to the cold full moon forwards and backwards of December 18th to Groundhog Day. And they made that movie Groundhog Day for a reason. And it's 23 days forwards and backwards, Michael Jordan's number, and 23 chromosomes and 23 on the Dr. Pepper can. And December 7th is always big because that's what started World War II. And we're always wondering what's going to start World War III. And that connects to February 13th, the beginning of Lupercalia. And 13 has always been big in their world. The Great Conjunction Day, go back 20 days to the winter solstice. You go up to January 30th, which is actually October 30th when Donnie Darko was to die. But of course, he really died on January 2nd, because he really died in the movie on October 2nd. And we have a new moon this January 2nd. It's the new moon for the eventual wolf full moon. And I also want to add 5 days in here, going up 5 days and back 5 days. Because if you go up 5 days, you get MLK's birthday, which is the 15th. And Tim Tebow wore 15, and Jacob Copeland, whose initials are Jesus Christ, and they had a little documentary on him called The Chosen One, and he went from number 15 to number 1. So that's 15th January, 15 to 1. 15th day, 1 month, which is January, the first month. And so then you have to go back 5 days through the portal. And if you go back 5 days, you land on January 5th, day before riots. And we know when Trump would go down, there would be riots the following day. The riots would hit the streets. So we look hard at the 15th because we know the following day there would be riots in the streets. That's part of shutting down the country, declaring martial law, shutting off all social media, shutting off the internet, and America looking like it's crumbling. So war would break out because they already pushed the narrative that when war breaks out, they already pushed the narrative that because of Joe Biden, whose middle name is Robinette, and Trump, of course, is Batman, and Donnie Darko said, "How do you know I'm not a superhero?" Because his girlfriend said, "Donnie Darko, that sounds like a superhero." And he goes, "How do you know I'm not?" And Trump said he is Batman. And they're both billionaires from Gotham fighting crime. Trump's fighting the deep state, the cabal, and he's here in his own name as a Trump is a horn and a horn is a Trump. And Jesus said he would be here in his own name. And Trump Tower's 5 multiple addresses, 721 through 725, match the little horn of Daniel 7 passage, Daniel 721 through 725, that speaks of the horn as the Antichrist. In an iPad goat, when they show you the Antichrist, a horn starts blowing. So, and Don Drumpf comes to 666, which was the family surname. And if you key in SIX, SIX, SIX in Gematria, which is how you count the number of the name of the beast, it's thousands and thousands of years old, Gematria is. And when you key in SIX, 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 spelled out 666 into the Gematria calculator, it spits out his name, Donald John Drumpf. Drumpf, the family surname, DRUMPF. And it's easy to search on the internet that was his family surname. But it had to be changed to fit Trump, Horn, Trump, to fit that he would be here in his own name. So both names of Drumpf and Trump both fit the Bible prophecy of 666 and him being here in his own name. So we know he's the Antichrist. And now we know how special this portal date is. The deadly wound is to the right eye. That's November 17th, Zechariah 11:17, November 17th. But you have to move that up through the portal, same amount of days, 54 days, and you get March 5th. So that's what we're doing. We're just running through various dates, and I don't think I've added them all in. When Trump said, "I am the chosen one," declares himself to be God on Abomination of Desolation Day. He said that on August 1st, 2019. And I guess I should put in the date. When you go forward 873 days, you come to June 1st, 2024. I guess I didn't even bother because I thought I would remember that, but you have to write it in. So it's just a possibility. But we really like the solar. I'll tell you something else. When you go up, let me pause for a second. When you go up 155 days, you get Trump's birthday, and you go back 155 days and you get August 8th, which is 88. Which is Trump in simple gematria. Now there's other dates too that I can't remember them all. I need to go back and look at the comments, all my prep that I have for comments, because various subscribers have done excellent work in giving us amazing connecting dates. But I would encourage anybody and everybody to watch Donnie Darko director's cut. It's got to be the director's cut. And what I'm going to put down now, I'm going to put this video in every description of every video that I make from here on out. And in the description of this video, I'm going to give you my two back-to-back Donnie Darko breakdowns. Do I have them on a playlist? Nope. So I'll just give you the videos back to back, which is well, hang on a second. I apologize. Oh. So I found them. I'm sorry it took so long. But Donnie Darko movie review part 1 will be in the comments. I mean, excuse me, will be down in the description below this video. And then this part 2, which is Donnie Darko, Pet Goat, Tenet combined, solved in theory with actual date of events, still up for grabs. And, you know, that's 2 hours and 45 minutes worth of going through the movie Donnie Darko, but everybody should watch Donnie Darko. Everybody should watch I Pet Goat. I will have that down in the video. It's 7 minutes, 27 seconds from Heliofont, which is all about a solar eclipse. The Heliofont means the solar eclipse through their symbology. And the Twin Towers are 110 stories tall, which is 110 for Tenet, or January Tenet, January 10th, or Janus Tenet. They were 110 stories tall. One of our subscribers told us, and that's, and our, you know, we're talking about Jamie, we're talking about Michael Jack, we're talking about AWTR when you see them down in the comments that have been with us a long time, been really helping us all through this process. And I just thought to run 110 through the portal, and you run into the new moon in April 30th, which is the birthday of like the longest relationship I ever had, and of a girl. And when you run it back the other direction, you get September 22nd. And you're like, well, that doesn't really hit anything. It's the day after the equinox. It might have been the equinox because the equinox will fluctuate. But September 11th, the next multiple is September 22nd. So you have to look very hard at something like April 30th because it's a new moon. It's the beginning of something. And it's the new moon in Taurus. And you'll have the full moon in Scorpio on the flower, full moon on the 16th. And if Trump happens to be in Israel celebrating their anniversary on the 14th, and that's when he would go down, well, you know, so the portal is just a connecting rod for numbers and dates that don't really tell us anything specific other than the solar eclipse of 2023. One of the two, either his death or his abomination of desolation, would occur on that solar eclipse. And it's a full solar eclipse. It's the only one of the year. So we're pretty confident that somewhere hidden in here, or what we will end up adding to here, is going to be the date when he goes down, but we're never sure. You're never going to be sure until it happens. And so anyway, love y'all. Thank you very much. Again, this will be in the description of every video that I do concerning any talk of the portal. And in the description of this video will be part 1 and part 2 of Donnie Darko overview and iPet Goat video, because you really have to watch Donnie Darko, the director's cut, a few times. I would watch it, then watch my 2 videos describing it, and then I would go back and watch it again. And at that point, you're going to understand a lot. And then you're going to want to watch iPet Goat over and over also. Always on a TV. Don't sit there and hold a cell phone and try to do this kind of stuff. It's not healthy to hold a cell phone. It's not healthy to have an iPad in your lap. So unless you can download it and then watch it on your iPad in airplane mode, I don't know if that works like that, but you don't want that kind of electromagnetic field sitting in your lap or on your stomach or on your chest or anything like that. So try to watch it on your TV through a Roku, into a smart TV, and just do what you can and be sure to help us out anytime something pops in your head. All right. Love you very much.